Well, welcome to another episode of the Jacob Wayne Show. It is Friday, and I haven't, once again, I've kind of been really busy in my life, a lot of weird, random bullshit going on, trying to grind and make some monies. And, it's left me a little distracted. It's been hard to get in the zone to really do the podcast, but how do I get into this? I guess today, which is June 24th, 2022, is the day that the U.S. Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. I believe that's the proper terminology or whatever, or overturned it. And it's just one of those really sad, depressing days in American history where we take steps backward on the road of progress and believe in a bunch of silly God-based stuff. And I'm sorry to put it that bluntly, but if you're pro-life or basically anti-abortion, you think that child inside the mother, even when it's just a coagulation of cells, hasn't even developed a nervous system, that's a life because it has a soul or God or something like that. And it's your right to believe that, I suppose. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm just going to get myself weighted down with all this stuff. But as you can tell, probably if you're a long-term listener or just know me, I'm not a religious guy. And so I go based off of the science. And I think there's been a lot of misconstrued information about when abortions can be done in the United States. I'm sure you could find some crazy anecdotal example somewhere where there was a late-term abortion and it was purely because the mother was like, I just don't want to be a mother. Go ahead. Or something. But in general, the laws on the book, I can't even remember the amount of weeks, but basically, it's not a life. And if you think it's a life, I don't know what's wrong with your brain, personally. And even if it is a life, it's essentially parasitic at that point. It's a thing that cannot survive on its own, and it is dependent upon the mother. And so I do believe that the mother has bodily autonomy, and she has the right to say, hey, I'm not going to grow this thing inside of me to birth. Now, I also think there's something to this where I'm a bald white dude talking about this in a state where abortion will probably remain legal. So it's kind of like, why the fuck listen to me, right? And I kind of agree with that. I think this is a women's issue. And if there is a profound debate to be had about it at this point, I don't think a debate exists, but then again, it's just my opinion. I suppose the debate should occur between women, and there is something really cringy about men giving their feedback on this, because in a way, it's mostly men on the Supreme Court and mostly men in power in our culture and politics that are making these decisions about a woman's body. And I don't know, do you make the Supreme Court just all the female Supreme Court justices, like between them they decide? I know that that's not how it works, but all I'm saying is it's a really sad day, because I feel like this is government authority. We already live in a bit of a dystopian oligarchy, and it's better than a lot of places, but that doesn't mean it's going great in America. And I don't know, it's just getting sad, getting worse, more divided. Maybe we were always this divided, and now we just are really forced to deal with it on a daily basis because of social media, technology, all that stuff. But I don't know. I guess all I can say is that I support women's rights over the right of a fetus. I got your back. I suppose the issue I run into is I don't particularly feel like going out and protesting does a lot of good. I'm not saying it doesn't do some good. I'm just saying I don't know if it's the best tool in the tool belt to combat this. Maybe I'm naive. I still feel like it's better to fix these things from within this system while it's pliable. I don't think we've reached the point where our government is unsavable. But vote in the midterms. That is one thing. A lot of people in my generation show up for presidential elections just about as well as anybody, but for some reason the midterms is just owned by the old generation. And that's how you get these fucked up Republican politicians to get into positions to put Republican conservative judges in positions where they can make these decisions. And yeah, there's tons of flaws and issues I have with neoliberalism and the Democrats and all that. And that is an issue that's going to need to be addressed. But to those of you that say, well, both sides are just the same, you're just insane to me. Like, clearly, the Republican Party is operating as an authoritarian party looking to install some level of theocratic rule. We're a white Christian nation, that kind of bullshit. And that's the thing to fight. So, yeah, I'll deal with a Biden who's really upsetting and does a lot of things wrong and a lot of things that I'm against, but that is better than Trump or DeSantis in Florida or anything the Republican Party is ultimately throwing towards us. Because, I mean, people got to remember history. Both parties used to be a little less corrupt in some ways. They had left wing, right wing, and centrist positions within both of those parties. There used to be liberal Republicans and liberal Democrats and conservative Republicans and conservative Democrats. And now it's almost like pure conservatism, far right for Republicans. And then it's not, they're basically the center, if not slight right in the Democratic Party. We don't have true leftist representation in this country. And to be fair, culturally, this country is, in my mind, very conservative. Things have changed a lot over the last 100 years, and I think that's why we see so much conflict. But this is a pretty conservative country. And so I guess all I'm saying is that should maybe take a look at the things that have been achieved and a relatively short amount of time in terms of human history and not give up and try to hold these institutions to a standard that we believe that they can have and participate. And I think part of that participation is peaceful protest, and that does have its place. I just, it's got to be a multi-front process. And this is where we get into, like, I wouldn't say a hypocrisy as much as contradictions and almost like paradoxes. How do you respect the other side and their autonomy and their beliefs without, truly taking away their rights or becoming violent or anything like that? And that's one of those things where a lot of people talk about how angry the left is. We got a lot of reasons to be angry, and millennials, my generation, has a lot of reasons to be angry. I feel like boomers or Gen X, Zoomers, they got a lot of reason to be angry, and a lot of workers that would consider themselves lifelong Republicans, they got good reason to be angry. Because essentially it is the haves taking more and more away from the have-nots and basically creating these little cultural wedge issues. So we keep fighting. And in that regard, Republicans that are on the far right are delivering exactly what their constituents want. And so when people on the left or the center vote in Democrats and they don't achieve anything that they say that they're going to do, or they lie about it, you could see why somebody would be like, well, I'm conservative and I vote Trump. He did do the things he said he was going to do, other than build the wall and that. But I mean, he did install a lot of conservative judges and removed a lot of government programs and this and that, installed a ton of conservative judges on the lower courts. I mean, he achieved stuff. And we're looking here at Biden like he's doing a couple things, but what the fuck are you doing? And I still think voting for the Democrats that are basically, I feel like they're almost holding us hostage a little bit. Like, you don't want it to get too crazy, do you? Just vote us in, and then we'll let the bare minimum standard oligarchical rule be the thing. You don't want a bunch of crazy religious, incelly creepy fucks to run things, do you? Well, just put us in charge and we'll make sure the bare minimum maybe happens in terms of progress and workers' rights. I don't know. Obviously, I'm a little all over the place with this, but I mean, it's really hard to see a way forward without even more major conflict. Like, I suppose slightly getting off of the subject, and before I do, just know I am pro-abortion, not just pro-choice. I am pro-abortion, and within the scientific parameters of it's just a collection of cells, hasn't developed a nervous system yet. It's not even going to remember this. Sure. I don't think it should be done frivolously, and I don't think it is done frivolously. I think every woman who has to make that choice, most, like an overwhelming amount, have a profound struggle. I've had friends in my life, and for an anecdotal example, where they've come to me after making that decision and it really fucks with them. And so the callousness of saying that these women are just running around casually getting abortions is just absurd and stupid, and one of those fucking stupid right-wing talking points. But okay, moving on. One argument I've heard on the other side, this is not a justification, it's just a thing I've read, is, well, this isn't that big of a deal. It just gives it to the states and it's states' rights. So, you know, it's up to the states now. It's not actually as bad as it looks. Like, come on. We all know that's bullshit. But that does raise an interesting question. What if, and I can't remember if I brought this up before, but what if we just break up as a country? Like, if we all agree this is not a violent, like, separation, we've just decided this relationship no longer works. Maybe we restructure almost more like a European Union almost amongst these states, conglomerate into like different nation states. And yeah, I get it. That sounds very messy, and this is just a pipe dream of mine. But yeah, it's like it's interesting to me that if we have this big of a problem with each other, like maybe implement a plan where we just separate. You keep your pro-life, God, government, theocracy, all that stuff. And then the rest of us will leave, and we'll just, yeah, we'll be reasonable. Sorry, but this is how I see it. And you know what? Maybe there is like almost like a three-way split on this. Maybe, you know, down in the South, I know there's liberals there and centrists there and all that, but you know, and you got to like divvy up the resources and still have fair trade. But like maybe the South just becomes theocracy land, and then maybe the Northeast kind of becomes just centristville. It's just like, yeah, we ain't doing that crazy liberal stuff, but you know, we're gonna have abortions, and you can get a New York slice right after. So, but bing bang boom. I can't remember which comedian had that premise of like going to get a pizza after an abortion. And I think that should be her right. I think it was a female comedian. It was just like, no, if I want to, I should be able to go get an abortion and then just go get a pizza right after and not give a fuck. Fuck you, which I agree with. But, you know, and then I don't know, I've heard the concept of the West Coast joining Canada, which Canada is already kind of like the liberal thing that maybe just, yeah, the liberal states can find a way to join Canada. Canada can gets a little more warm real estate. I don't know. All I know is I'm very anti-war. I believe in nonviolence. And at the same time, I also believe that life is not that big of a deal. It's just that if you're alive, you should have maximum amount of freedom, individual freedom, as long as you're not hurting anybody. And no, things have gotten complicated in this country. All I want is for people to be themselves as best they can, do what they want. If they want to shoot themselves up with a bunch of heroin, we should have stuff put into place to help them out. But if they want to check out that way, then that's their right. That's kind of my belief. I'm sure if you found little anecdotal cases or circumstances, maybe you'd flip me on it. I know I brought this up on the podcast before where I can have beliefs and only have them like at 60% strength. Like, yeah, I think I mostly believe that, but if you showed me some things, I could flip on it. I'm not going to flip on pro-choice, pro-abortion. I'm not going to flip on like God. This is your Christian country. Like, no, it isn't. Fuck you. Anyway, long story short, I lost a lot of respect for the Supreme Court today, but it's not like I had a ton of respect for it to begin with. And what's funny is people that have this profound respect for the Supreme Court or Congress or the presidency tend to believe that America was given the Constitution and all this stuff from God, which is fucking silly and stupid. And I'm kind of tired of debating silly and stupid things with people and acting like it's just a difference of opinion. It is a difference of opinion, but some people are living in a fucking fantasy world. And you know what? In that way, people on the other side, people that are like extreme believing in healing crystals and astral gendered things, like an alien is actually coming down and speaking through my body, I am the body's host, you're fucking silly and stupid too. All right, that was my Friday rant. Fridays I was normally planning on talking about music, which I suppose we could do real quick. Sorry to bum you out, but you know, I would almost feel disingenuous to talk about this or to not talk about this, because it is like affecting my mood today. And I guess one funny element of this is that not too long ago, I was like, maybe I'll just do social media stuff on Fridays. That didn't work at all. I did about 2 weeks of it. I ended up getting pestered by people like, hey, you need to promote the show. Where's the new thing? Where's that thing? Could you share this for me real quick? It's just the way of the world now. I think I did learn to cut back on it a lot, which is good. But to be honest, taking a break from it, I didn't notice a giant benefit to it. If anything, I just was out of the loop and there was a bunch of stuff I was missing. That being said, if I was still on that track, today would have been my day where I compiled a little fun little video and like, hey, this is what I did this week. And it ended up just waking up to like, oh, fucking Roe v. Wade has been overturned. Well, now I just feel stupid posting anything about what I'm up to today. I don't know. Social media is so fucking weird. As I make a podcast that I'll share on social media. Yeah, I get it. We're all in this crazy boat together. Okay. Let's do some music. Okay, I promise the next time I do an episode, that will be shorter. The next one will be shorter. You might be wondering, for those that are watching this, why do I have 2 coffee cups? Well, this is how frazzled I've been today. I poured a cup of coffee, came down, set it on my desk. Then I was like, oh shit, I got to run upstairs and take care of this, and that. I ran around. I was like, where did I set my coffee? And I'm like, maybe I didn't pour myself one. So then I went and got another cup and poured one, come downstairs. Oh, my Lord. So I'm going to be jacked up. Luckily, I'm recording these, separate. So you don't have to deal with just drunk me or really coffeeed up me or really tired me on any one episode. You'll get a delicious tapestry of Jacob Wayne's. New music, Hai Lung. Have we talked about them before? They are a group that combines ancient lyrics with otherworldly vocals, field recordings, dark ambient soundscapes, and shamanic rhythms. They are a Danish, German, Norwegian act, and there's a really awesome live video. I can't remember the name of it because it's not in my native language, so it's hard to remember the song titles. I'm gonna assume though it's Krigskalder or Hackerskalder. Those are their number one tracks, but there's a really great YouTube video where it's all green, smoky lighting, and it's just really atmospheric, slow build. It's all atmospheric stuff, but that performance in particular, the female singer has her eyes shrouded with like antlers. It's really cool stuff. So they just released a new track called Noah Anna. Haven't heard it yet, so I can't tell you what I think. I can't imagine it would drift away from their main thing too much. There's a new Unplugged album by Third Eye Blind, another one I'll probably check out at some point. Third Eye Blind is one of those bands where I was like, back when they were popular. And as I've gotten older, I was like, they were actually pretty solid for one of those 90s pop rock bands. I still say that their self-titled release in 1997 is a great record. There is a new track from the Mars Volta after, let me see if I can find that. But I want to say like 16 years. I think maybe 10. Maybe their last album was in 2012. Last time the Mars Volta released a song. Yeah, first new song in 10 years, it looks like. So I was really underwhelmed by this song. It's called Black Light Shine, and that's not to say it isn't good. I thought it was good. It's tasty, but such a strange one to be like, we're back. It's been 10 years. It's 2 minutes and 55 seconds, which is something I'm not totally used to from them. I feel like their songs can usually get kind of long. And I don't know, has a really good, nice Latin groove to it. And it is a nice song. It's just maybe it'll make more sense within the context of an album. I don't even know if they're releasing an album. Maybe lyrically it really speaks to certain things, but I'm not a big lyric guy. I feel like I listen to stuff and then it's like the 12th or 20th time I'm like, oh, that's what they're saying. So check it out. I'm sure Mars Volta fans are excited. And I would also say don't judge it too harshly if it's not exactly what you wanted when they returned. And one other side note, as I'm sitting here looking at it, I really love the artwork for the Mars Volta on their albums. Who painted the Mars Volta album covers? I'll give them a shout out. Jeff Jordan, an American painter in Eureka, California. He is best known for the artwork he has provided for the rock band the Mars Volta. So Jeff Jordan, go check him out. With that being said, we'll move along. There's a new single from the Gorillaz called Cracker Island featuring Thundercat. Haven't heard it yet, but I'm always down for some Gorillaz. Some of those hit better than others. Ska. I think this is another one of those things where a rapper released something under a band name. And so if you're going in expecting some of that good, then it's just a mumble rap. Fuck that. God damn it. I hate it when that happens. There's a new track from Little Big, kind of the fun, silly. I think they're Russian. Let's find out and get a little more about So, yeah. Little Big is a Russian punk pop rave band with a strong fan community from around the world. Their music videos generate millions of views, and their Skibbity music video became the most popular video in the history of YouTube Russia. Skibbity was an awesome video. Little Big, though, they just released a new single, and it's called Generation Cancellation. I wonder what that's about. All right. That is new music releases. As far as personal music stuff goes, I don't know what Kellen has coming up, but maybe check out his music page for details. Kellen Gibbons Music on Facebook. Me and him are like kind of batting around some cloud faculty ideas, and hopefully we can get something like that to you sooner rather than later. And Gamma Pa, we have 2 shows coming up this summer as of right now, but we can't really speak on them yet because we're still hammering out the details. So tomorrow we'll get into movie stuff, wrap up the episode. Maybe we'll have a chit chat with Kellen, but we'll see if he has time this week. Stay strong out there, y'all. The road towards progress is long and hard, and it's often 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And yeah, love you. Welcome back. We are here on a Sunday afternoon. Clearly, I didn't have a lot of time to record this week, and honestly, didn't really feel the strong urge to. So that's why I think this recorded segment thing is really going to work out in the long run, because you'll still get weekly content. Some might just be shorter than others. As far as the news goes, the slow decline of Western civilization has continued. Russia strikes Kyiv as Western leaders meet in Europe. Biden urges Western unity on Ukraine amid war fatigue. The war, let's see, how long has it been going on in Ukraine? 2 months, 3? We already, like, yeah, war is fatiguing, no doubt about it, but it hasn't been going on that long. We're already like, oh, geez, like, when? Oh, when's this year going to be done so I can watch the Oscars again or something? Did corporate greed fuel inflation? It's not the biggest culprit, according to Paul Wiseman. Oh yeah, Roe v. Wade was overturned, like we already discussed. So over the last few days, the last time you were listening, which is the same episode, I'm gonna have to get used to how to frame this exactly, but yeah, it's been a little bit of a shit show on my social media. Luckily, it's just the women in my life that are incredibly upset by the news, and some women in my life who are just choosing to ignore it, which I think are my pro anti-choice people. I don't like calling them pro-life because I just don't think they are. That's why I try to use pro-abortion rather than pro-choice, because I like to say what it is. I am pro-abortion, and these people are, pro-control, anti-choice. I don't know. But yeah, I suppose they're entitled to their opinion, and I would respect a pro-control lady's opinion over my own. She has to live with the choices that were made more than I do. But I will say that I'm glad that I've cleaned up my social media enough that I have not seen one post that's been thrilled about the decision. I guess that's a tiny victory on my end. I just haven't seen somebody I need to block. So I already spent the first part of this podcast the other day really going off on that, so I won't keep going off on it, but all those news stories that are on the front page of AP News, I don't really feel like getting into, so let's just get right into movies. Where is my, there it is. All right, let's get into a little bit of movie news, some little mini movie review. Yeah, sorry, movie news and movie reviews. Right. Okay. Looks like Top Gun Maverick soared past 1 billion at the global box office. It's become Tom Cruise's first film to cross the 1 billion mark at the global box office. So, as a lot of people have mentioned, Tom Cruise is kind of like the last movie star, the guy that, or actor that can basically guarantee a certain amount of business. I have not seen the movie. I tried watching Top Gun for the first time the other day and I turned it off because I didn't give a fuck. Not that I won't come back to it and finish it. It's just I wasn't feeling it that day and it wasn't really grabbing me. It was a little too cheesy. But I hear nothing but good things about this Top Gun Maverick movie, so I might have to just check it out because of the whole zeitgeist thing. Other movie news. I don't know if I'm seeing way too much. I'll tell you one thing though, my go-to movie news site, collider.com, is getting really fucking stupid. A lot of articles on here are Lightyear versus Buzz in Toy Story. We have some unanswered questions. Do you really? Jurassic World Dominion failed Macy Lockwood. I'm pretty sure that entire movie failed. So why even write about that? And then here's my favorite one. The 10 best movies to watch with the sound off. Who the fuck writes this shit? I used to really enjoy this site and they've just gotten real fucking bad. With that, I guess we'll just move on to what movies I watched. That's all the movie news I came across that might be worth mentioning. I finally watched the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die. And I gotta say, spoilers from here on out if you care, I really enjoyed the movie. I was going in expecting to be like, meh. The last James Bond movie I watched was Spectre, and I was very drunk watching it with my good buddy. And so I don't remember it really at all. But that's the thing, even when I get really drunk, if I love a movie, I love it. And then I gotta watch it again to make sure, yeah, I loved it. And sometimes I'm like, all right, it wasn't as epic as I remember when I was really drunk, but at least, okay, now I remember some details better because I'm not really drunk. And as far as Spectre goes, don't remember shit about it, and it did nothing for me. I need to rewatch it because some of the stuff that happens in No Time to Die left me like confused as to like, oh, okay, yeah, this isn't like, I need to remember this isn't regular James Bond stuff. The Daniel Craig era has been kind of one larger narrative, even though it's really bounced around tonally and focus wise. So yeah, long story short, I was going into this expecting not much, and just every moment I found myself really enjoying it. Anna de Armas, her character was really, really wonderful. Can't remember her name. I won't really bother looking it up. You should just watch the movie and wait for the Anna de Armas part because she doesn't have a big part. And of course, Collider.com had to write a whole article about they underutilized Anna de Armas, and this is how she defies what a Bond girl is. Whereas every Bond movie that gets released, they always release an article, not just Collider, but everywhere. Like, this is how this Bond girl defies the Bond girls of past and yesteryear. And, sort of. She was really entertaining, but I feel like I've seen just as interesting and fun female characters in James Bond films before, given back in the day, James Bond would more liberally sleep with them. And they've kind of toned that down to the series' benefit, I think. You can't just go around fucking everything that moves, James. It's unprofessional. That's something double O, not even double O, 012 would do. You know what I'm saying? The action's great. The villain was really intriguing. Maybe kind of hard to follow exactly what he's all about, and he didn't show up until like halfway through the movie, but I was very intrigued by him, and I found myself wanting to like look up exactly what his motivation was. But in general, it's like nanobots and DNA, and it kind of, makes you think about COVID and the pandemic because of how he implements these nanobots to attack certain distinctive DNAs. And I don't know, it's a very cool James Bond villainy thing. I thought it was clever. Um Spoiler, he dies in it. They killed James Bond, and I thought they totally earned it and made it work, and I like it. It was a good way to kind of close the book on the Daniel Craig era, and they did establish that he had been retired, so somebody else took on the 007 moniker. I thought they should have adjusted that a little bit to say that every time they move somebody into that position, maybe they called them James Bond or Jane Bond, like that name is always used. So then it would explain the past Bonds, but they already kind of muddied that with M. And, whatever. But moving forward, yeah, give us a new James Bond. Make it a woman or a Idris Alba. Fuck, I feel like I said that wrong. But you know what I'm saying. All the talk of the town about how to do James Bond and modernize it. I'm for it. Daniel Craig did a good job. Let's shake it up a little bit. I could even call it like a movie, A Woman Named James. I don't know. Anyways, pretty good movie. I liked it a lot. I was very surprised. So as far as the Daniel Craig Bonds go, there's a little bit of the recency bias. That's a new term I've learned. I like it though. No Time to Die, I really enjoyed, but I think, I can't do this. I need to go rewatch them. I was going to try to rank them, but right, I'll go rewatch them and then we can compare and contrast. Right now, No Time to Die is my favorite Craig Bond for now. Could be recency bias. Then Skyfall. Then Casino Royale, even though I think Casino Royale could be argued as the best of all the Craig Bonds, but I need to rewatch it. After that, fucking A, maybe Spectre, because Quantum of Solace was like whatever. Am I missing one? Let me know. Okay, and then I watched one other movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and this one I did not love. That being said, I loved parts of it. As I said in a post on this show's Instagram, it was very like had all the cool, awesome Sam Raimi stuff that you love about Sam Raimi, like Evil Dead references, a little bit of Drag Me to Hell in there. Uh, just his wild camera movement and that kind of stuff. And I really love that stuff. It has a lot of personality. But at the same time, it has a lot of another Sam Raimi issue, which is the silly, goofy, what the fuckness of Spider-Man 3. I could still put myself in the place I was when I watched Spider-Man 3 and how fucking disappointing that movie was. And it seems like Sam Raimi has never been able to shake that off. Like, even Drag Me to Hell, while I really love that movie, he instead of being like awesome goofy, he became cheesy goofy. And it's such a fine line, I guess. But yeah, Sam Raimi's a dork. Like the music note fight was fucking stupid. I heard people praising it, like, oh, what a clever, fun little thing. And I was like, nah, that's just really dumb. It's like something out of like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, like Robert Rodriguez level dumb. Another director I really love, but man, teeters on that edge of awesome and cheesy to the point of like, oh my God, what am I watching? And pretty different for an MCU movie, so I'll give it that. It seems like they're starting to give directors more of a voice in these projects rather than just the cut, paste, copy nature of them, even though that's still in there. And it's at this point almost kind of needs to be for MCU movies just to maintain some sense of continuity. America Chavez is like the character in it, and it was funny. It's like I couldn't tell if they were doing it on purpose, but they're like, America is dying. I need to save America. It's just, did they do that in the comics? And it's just so on the fucking nose that it's like, America is being possessed by a demon witch. We have to do something about America. Oh my God. That being said, there's some genuinely like creepy moments with the Scarlet Witch. Yeah, I liked. Why can't I think of her name? Not Cucumber Bandersnatch. I know his name. Yeah, let's look it up. Got time to kill on this episode, I suppose. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Some dude Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. I don't know who the fuck that is. Elizabeth Olsen. Fuck, the Olsen twins' sister. I knew that. Yeah, she did a really great job in this. And then they killed her. Spoiler. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. It's the MCU. They can figure out a way to bring her back. It's the other universe's Scarlet Witch. She's back. Yeah, and there is some cool stuff like undead zombie Strange turning like souls into like a soul cape of the damned or something. It's pretty cool. One kind of funny review I saw on this movie is like, I don't like this movie. All the scary devil stuff, it seemed demonic. Yeah. Scarlet Witch and a magician who travels through the multiverse. I get, yeah, it kind of is gonna go there. Let's go see a review for this one. I should have done that with the Bond one, but we've already moved on. So this is on Letterboxd. It's a website I like to use to keep a diary of the films I've watched and occasionally leave a review. Usually I just do the 5-star rating. I, on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, gave it 3 stars out of 5, and I liked it. Sometimes I'll give something 5 stars and not like it. Sometimes I'll give it 1 star and like it. You know, I think that's a pretty good weird way of balancing it. This one gave it 2 stars. It said, some fun Raimi shtick in this crummy looking, mostly incoherent slog. This is a review by Matt Lynch. Okay, little harsh, little simple. Seeing a lot of 2 stars, 2.5, 3 stars. Let's do a 3.5. This is by Ken_JD. Would have given this 2 stars, but Bruce Campbell as Pizza Papa adds an extra star and a half pizza slice. Oh, Bruce Campbell gives it an Okay, that's something to talk about. The Bruce Campbell cameo that's inevitable in any Sam Raimi movie, it seems, is dumb. Who cares? I know people geek out about his appearance, but it's like, why? All right. I was going to try to find a 5-star review. Here's one. 5-star. Go on Red. I can't believe how good this was, with alternate realities being paired with dreams in this battle for wants and settling for less to restrain selfishness. Sam Raimi's directing, as well as the story, is so story and impactful. The horror element is genuinely brilliant. I did like that they tried to go for some horror elements, and that was unique to the MCU. And I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what they were going for. They like to dabble in the different genres and put it through the MCU filter. Horror movie in the MCU makes sense as Doctor Strange, makes sense they went with Sam Raimi, especially after their recent Spider-Man movies and kind of recontextualizing the Tobey Maguire ones a little bit. Um, yeah, but just kind of clumsy and had some of Sam Raimi's worst habits exposed. But, 3 stars. I liked it. It's just really flawed. I didn't hate it like I hated Spider-Man 3. And those are my little mini movie reviews for the week. I As far as shows go, finished up Obi-Wan Kenobi. That was pretty good. First 4 episodes, I was feeling like, I don't know about this. And then the last 2 episodes really like locked it in, and I thought it was really good. And there's moments in the final episode that was like, all right, I've been waiting for that since I was a boy. I mean, spoiler alert, the fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan in that episode is like miles and away better than the fight in episode 3. Episode 3 is just a silly, ridiculous CGI fest that goes on way too long. And just they're always jumping from obstacle to obstacle. They jump on floating robots in the lava and fighting. And this is way more grounded and emotional, and just had a lot of little fun Easter eggy type moments. And I haven't even reviewed it on here yet, but I'm going to give that 4 stars and a like. If the whole series had been like the last 2 episodes, I might even give it like 4.5 to 5 stars, but nope, those first 4 really take it down a notch. But I do, once again, with all Star Wars, have to remember that it is made for kids, and so it'll never go as serious and as adult or complex as I want it to. And that's on me. Star Wars is for everybody, and that's what it is. That being said, I think they did a pretty good job. So I'm gonna log that. What else did I finish up? Didn't finish it up, and when watching The Boys, that's continued to be excellent and very poignant for the times we're living in. I'm expecting to get into the next episode and it'll be some kind of allegory for abortion and completely hit the nail on the head. And I'll be, oh my God, did they like plan this? That's how I felt about this season. Yeah, I think that's about as much as I can speak on. As far as shows I've been watching, nothing has been wrapped up quite yet. Yeah. So I'm not watching Miss Marvel. Don't give a fuck. I think it's well put together, but it's definitely not for me. And maybe that's the difference between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel, I think, is going for a very specific demographic to open up the MCU. And good on them. I think it's probably a well-made show. And yeah, just it's too kiddie and bright and fun, and that's just not my style. Obi-Wan Kenobi, trying to please everybody. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But good job. It was better than Book of Boba Fett in the long run, for sure. All right, since nothing else is coming to mind on movies or shows, I will maybe wrap this up. Just barely past GTA 5, by the way. It's the first video game I've finished in a really long time. And that was a really good I know I'm very late to the party. Like, people passed that game almost 10 years ago, but yeah, it's a good one. I liked it a lot. It's very fun and relaxing. I would listen to maybe my current favorite podcast, Dudesy. If you haven't listened to it, I would highly recommend listening to it. Way more funny and entertaining than my show. But what are you going to do? You got to be honest. It's the first podcast in history ran by AI. And it has the glorious Will Sasso along with his buddy Chad. I can't remember Chad's last name. Grown to really enjoy him by listening to the podcast. So I would just throw on Dudesy and drive around in GTA, and that was some of my best gaming I've done in a while. Other than that, I've just been really enjoying the what do they call it? I'm never good at the genres here. Slay the Spire is the game I've been playing, which is like kind of it's a card game. What do we call it? Fused card games and roguelikes. Roguelikes is a type of game that I feel like I don't totally understand how to explain it to somebody who doesn't know what they are. It's like slowly upgrading your deck and abilities over time, I think is the general gist. But yeah, anyway, it's card games and roguelikes together to make the best single player deck builder we could. Yeah, so deck builder roguelike, and it's a lot of fun. I played it not too long ago and then just kind of tucked it away and played some other things, but recently been getting right back into it, and it's been grabbing me. It's very nice too, because you can play it for like 15 minutes and then get up and go do whatever it is you needed to go do, or you can sit there and play it for 2 to 3 hours. It's very flexible that way. Whereas another game I'm trying to finish, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I feel like if I leave that alone for 2 days, I completely kind of forget where I was. And it takes a lot of like just struggling to get back to where I was in terms of like fluidity of movement, puzzle solving, where I am in the story, that sort of thing. But that is an excellent game too. It's just not one that I think you can really pick up and play for 15 minutes and then put back down. As far as my PS4 goes, I am going to probably play Red Dead Redemption 2, keep up with the Rockstar games since I'm still kind of in that mode, rather than try to do every little side mission in GTA 5. I'm just going to move on to another Rockstar game I haven't played yet, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2. And other than that, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I beat that, at least season 1 I beat. It's a good old-fashioned beat 'em up, just like Turtles in Time, if you remember that game. And I need to play that with some other people. I only did it single player, but looks like you can play it with like up to 6 people or something. So yeah, a little more gaming stuff, I guess, been going on lately than movies. Oh, and another game I got to shout out is Super Blood Hockey. If you were a fan of Blades of Steel back in the day on the regular Nintendo, it's like that mixed with tiny elements of like Stardew Valley, very tiny elements. You have to like manage the team and go out behind the locker room and buy drugs for them, like steroids and things of that nature. And yeah, it's just a fun, tiny little quick play hockey game. And I wish sports games would get a little more creative. I keep wanting to get like a NBA game, but the 2K series, they keep getting worse and worse. It's like, why would I spend my money on that? Oh yeah, and then I was on the hunt for the best racing games to buy on Steam. I've only tried one so far, but one that's pretty solid is Meow Motors. Cat like meow. Meow Motors. It's very much a Mario Kart ripoff, but it has some unique elements to it. I haven't felt the need to play it again after one night playing through it a bit, but it is fun. I'll pick it back up. And recently slowly started on No Man's Sky with Kellen. And hopefully we'll get Kellen on here some point in the future and we could talk more about that and some other games that I'll be playing with him. Oh, wow. A lot of gaming stuff. I kind of forgot. Another game I've been playing a little bit is 9 Monkeys of Shaolin. That's another beat 'em up. It's a little more advanced, has a little more to it than the Shredder's Revenge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. But I wouldn't say it like sunk its teeth in. I drifted a little bit away from it after a couple days, but the reason for that is when I'm here on my computer doing gaming, I either like to do something I can totally like zone out, maybe have a couple beers, listen to a podcast, and just click, click, click. That's why stuff like Valheim and Slay the Spire and what is the one? It's like Sim City, but it's not. That is City Skylines or the Golf Club. You know, these are good games to like chill out to. And then I would say 9 Monkeys of Shaolin or Ori and the Will of the Wisps, No Man's Sky kind of takes a little more focus. And I think once you get into the groove with them, then you can kind of ease up. But I'll also be in Discord chatting with my friends and I kind of want to be able to focus. So some games work better for that than others. Stellaris is another good one. I still don't think I've ever beat that game, but that one's a lot of fun. It's like Civ 6, which is another classic that I've played way too much at this point. Just gotta put it away and let it build back up and then come back in, get a culture victory or something. All right. Pretty solid gaming stuff. I didn't expect that, but I guess I haven't talked about it for a minute. Yeah, so I am lining it up for next week. I should have a good guest on. She will be new to the show, and if it all works out, you'll know who it is, and we'll have a good conversation. I'm going to get her feelings on the recent news, as well as just get to know her for the audience, to get to know her, and just have a good, nice conversation. And then we'll have our other segments, just like every other week. And it'll be another episode of The Jacob Wayne Show. And as of right now, that is the end of this week's episode. So I will see you next week. Ta-ta! Thank you for listening to The Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fakoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to